Hello everyone, welcome to This and That with DrAnimwaa. I am so excited to be here today. I have a special guest. If you are a new subscriber, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope that you enjoy it. If you're a returning subscriber, you are the real G and I appreciate your support. So we are going right into it. This is something that I've always wanted to do, and today I have the maternity diary with us. Please, as soon as you finish watching this, go and subscribe to her channel and support her. She has amazing content. I've been binge watching her. You would love it. She's talking about so many things that our parents did not tell us that we had to find on our own. And today we are going to share some with you. Things I wish I knew before I had a baby. But these are things that I really wish that I knew. And she's here to share with me. So do you want to say something before we get into it?
Yes. Guys, you're welcome to This and That with Dr. DrAnimwaa. Oh God, how did I miss the doctor? Dr. DrAnimwaa. Yes, so this is an exciting channel. Ever since I came across this channel, honestly, it's been smile. Every time I'm watching the videos, I'm always smiling. Like my cheeks hurt, literally hurt. I probably have to get like an insurance for hurting cheeks. But please, honestly, if you're new here, please subscribe. Don't consider subscribing. Do subscribe to this channel. It's a must. And like this video. I want to see all your beautiful comments out there. And yeah, we have something good for you today.
Great. So let's go in. Things I wish I knew. Honestly, growing up in an African setting or in a Ghanaian home, don't let me generalize it, but growing up in a Ghanaian home, there are so many things that I wish my mother had told me about childbirth, about pregnancy, that she did not, that I had to find on my own. And the first thing, and this will be surprising, the first thing that I found was my vagina. Because I had a vaginal delivery, will be sore and it will hurt. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And so this is not to scare anyone. This is not to tell you not to have a baby. Please, if you want to have a baby, have a baby. But these are things that I had to learn. So I didn't know that my vagina was going to get sore. My mother did not sit down and tell me that your vagina was going to get sore. I think it was just one of my children that I actually went to the hospital in labor. For the others, I just walked into the hospital casually. And then I came out with a baby. So the first time I went, I saw this woman being wheeled out. And I was told my husband, oh, poor her. She's in a wheelchair and she just had a baby. I really hope that she gets all the support. And I was praying for her that she gets all the support. And little did I know that the next day I was going to be wheeled out as well. And so when I was being wheeled out the next morning, someone was looking like,
I was probably praying for you too.
I wanted to say, please, I will not have a baby. So I had no idea. I went in, I had my baby, and then my husband was with the baby, and I decided to go to the washroom. I thought I was healthy. I thought I could just go. So I got down from the bed. And then I was going and I fell down. Then the nurse was, oh my goodness. She came to hold me. She was like, if you want to go, just let me know. I'll hold you. I'm like, why would you hold me? She said, no, you are sore. You can't walk. Yeah. You have stitches down there. I need to hold you. And it was so painful because now I got the epidural and it was raining down so you could feel the pain. Oh my goodness. When it was time for me to move from the labor ward to the postnatal ward, they put me in a wheelchair. I'm like, oh, this is what it means. Yeah, hey!
Yeah.
Did you have the same experience or did you know?
Honestly, to be frank with you, there are so many things that I wish I knew before, like I got pregnant. In fact, even before I got married, maybe sex and stuff like that. Anyway, that's another topic. Well, another day we'll talk about that, things about sex. But then personally, like when it came to birth, there were too many things that I didn't know. And that's what actually birthed the maternity diary because I felt like, oh my God, how come nobody told me this or nobody told me that? And so I was like, no, I need to put that out there. So with the tear thing, like with my first, actually, I didn't, just like you, with my first, I didn't have the tear like that. It was just normal. But then I walked into the hospital just like you. Everything was nice and cozy. I came home. After 2 days, I started feeling the pain of the tear. So now I'm sitting down breastfeeding my child and I can't even get up. I can't even sit. Like the sitting is so painful. Getting up is so painful as well. I used the sit back. Nothing worked for me. So at a point, I discarded all those things. But for my second, God, the tail was incredible. Like, because the thing is, the problem was by the time I got to the hospital, I was already almost 8 centimeters dilated. Exactly. And they were trying to push me not to come because it was COVID time. And I was scheduled for like induction, so they wanted me to wait and then come at the date that I was like, no way, this baby is coming. At a point they were like, is the baby like, is the contraction within this time or that time? I was like, yes, I had to lie, because if I did not lie, I would have ended up giving, if I had stayed in the house for 1 more hour, I'd have given better at home. So I had the same like therapy, because at a point they were like, oh, just push. And honestly, the healing was faster for me. It was weird, but it was faster but for my first, I didn't feel the tear in the beginning. But then a couple of days after, oh my God, I could not get up. For 2 weeks straight, like I was in pain. I couldn't sit.
Someone had to hold you to sit.
Yes, I wanted
the bed.
Honestly, like it was so bad. And I wanted to be brave, because you're as a first-time mom and you don't have your mom around, you have, let's say, your mother-in-law around. You don't want her to feel like, I don't know what you're. At
least you had your mother-in-law. My mom did not come to her. I was like 5 months. My baby was 5 months.
Oh my God. My mother-in-law came, I think, 2 days after I gave birth.
Nice.
So that was good. But at the same time, like I felt that kind of pressure that what if she thinks that I'm not being good enough? I'm not doing well. Like, I'm horrible at being a mother, So I had to like take in the pain, pretend I was fine, but I wasn't fine. And
I think this is number 2. So this wasn't even on the list of things, but that we need to tell mothers that it's okay for them to express themselves. Because back home, you see the mothers having the baby and they're always happy. They have the baby, they're happy, they're wearing white and they're always happy. So when you start to talk about things, then you think that, am I a bad mother?
Yeah.
You start to feel that you're a bad mother because you are talking about things like that.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's one of the things that led me to have postpartum depression. Yeah. Because I wasn't happy.
Exactly.
I would wake up in the morning, I would start crying.
Yeah. And you're wondering if there's something wrong with you, because you're like, but I've never seen anybody cry, or feel down when they are supposed to be happy. You know what I mean?
That's the other thing. I had never heard the word postpartum depression till I found myself in it. It was never talked about, nothing.
Yeah.
And so I wake up in the morning and then I'm sad and I'll look at my baby and I say, can I do this? Can I take off this baby? Yeah. I think I can't do it. I just had the baby and they say, okay, bye-bye, go
away.
Nothing. They didn't give me anything. And I'm supposed to be happy because you see people being happy, sharing their happy faces on Instagram, on social media. Even when I was growing up and I wasn't, I was sad. So I remember telling my husband, there's something wrong with me. I need to go to the hospital. Yeah. I need to speak with someone. Yeah. My husband was like, there's nothing wrong with you. It is normal. You need to be happy. I'm like, no, but I can't.
You can't be happy.
And I don't know if it's just the stigma with going to see a psychologist or a social worker. I don't know. Yeah. But my husband didn't really want me to go because he didn't feel like there was anything wrong. Yeah. He also didn't know about it.
Exactly. And also, like, I can understand him in the sense that I feel like those of us who come back from Africa, Ghana, wherever, we are not used to, let's say, going to see a psychologist or going to see like a specialist when it comes to things of the mind. Mm-hmm. So we are constantly like pushing out those things. And even if, let's say, we know somebody, let's say a little child has gone to see a psychologist and then they say, this child has dyslexia. You're like, that's how they are. They just diagnosed them with something, Exactly.
They are forcing things on
us. Because even me, like as old as I am, like there are times, I remember when I was in the UK, there was this girl that came to me, I have dyslexia, I have this, I have that. And I was like, in my head, I was like, is she sure they are not just diagnosing it for her? Like, because she's making herself available, like to be diagnosed.
She's always going to the hospital and say, I have this,
Exactly. So in the same way, it's like, if you went to the hospital, for instance, it's going to be like, even if you didn't have a problem, they would definitely find something to say, you have this issue.
Because you came to the hospital.
Exactly. Let's give you something. Let's say, you have this,
And I feel like, and that's why we are doing this video, so that before you have a baby, I feel like now more mothers are opening up and speaking about their experiences.
Exactly.
So I went to the hospital, and then where it was called the Wellness Center, the University of Calgary, there was the counseling session and the medical session.
Yeah.
So I went to the counseling. I said, I need to speak to someone. I just had a baby. I'm not happy. I don't know what is wrong with me. I have my baby here.
Yeah.
I need to speak with someone. They said, so do you need a social worker or a psychologist? I said, anyone.
Anyone.
Give me anyone who is currently available.
Oh, yeah.
So I went to speak with a social worker. And after I told her everything, she said, anymore, you are experiencing postpartum depression, but yours is not serious. I don't need to put you on medication or anything.
Yeah.
I feel like what you need is social support.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. So she said, find a friend or find a support. We find somebody else that is also just had a baby and talk with them. You realize that your experiences are the same and all that, and they would support you.
Yeah.
So out of that, when I came back, I founded a mother support group on where I lived, the family house. And so I was then still doing my PhD when I was my first year PhD when I had my son. So I founded a mother support group to help other mothers, and it was a success. We had funding, and we had a lot of funding to support us because so many other mothers were going through, and we just gather and talk about motherhood. And there was no perfect mom there. We were all imperfect mothers talking about how hard motherhood is and sharing that my son did this, my child did this, my daughter did this, encouraging each other.
That is amazing, because honestly, it's very difficult to even find like a support group in that way. And sometimes people shy away from support group because they think they'll be judged or something like that. But then it's rather like a safe space, and that is where you can find like solace. You know that, oh, this mother also went through this, then I'm not the only one. Sometimes you even realize that you're even better off than some mothers, like even in the support group, because you're like, I thought I was the worst mom because I was doing this, you know.
It helped so much. Even when I left, it was still there. And one of the mothers, I don't know if she'll be watching, Afira, she's a medical doctor. She's taking it upon herself, and she's building on it.
Oh my God! Wow!
It was a terrible situation, but something really great came out of it. So that was the other thing, the sleepless nights.
Oh my God! Sleep deprivation is the worst.
I think women are experiments. Mothers are experiments to show that you don't need sleep to survive. I had heard about the sleepless nights. I did not know it was that terrible. I could not sleep. The doctor said, oh, if your baby doesn't wake up at 3 hours, set an alarm.
And
my baby always woke up before the alarm. My baby always woke up 10 minutes before the alarm. And people would tell you, oh, when the baby sleep, oh, you can go and bath, you can go. You can't even sleep. They don't even say go and sleep when the baby sleep. You can't even sleep, you know, because at that time your mind is. You've not eaten. Your house is in a mess. You try to do something before you turn around, your baby is crying. You try to cook before you turn around, your baby is crying. It was a nightmare. And every single time since after my first, the only thing that I mentally prepare for is the sleepless night. That's one thing that I prepare my mind. You will go crazy. You wake up and you'll be like a zombie. And then the fact that people want to come and visit you and they want to smile. God, I have not slept. I cannot smile. I cannot force it. There's nothing within me.
And the thing is, sometimes they come and they don't realize that, look, I have to make this visit quick and go. And then they'll stay for so long. Like, they have a good intentions, but they don't realize like the toll that is taken on you. Because I had some people who came to visit me and they are still like, seriously, are you going to go or something? Like, you know, it was really tough for me. And then I also, so that was for my first, but for my second, the good thing is I was COVID. So I was giving them excuse. Oh, COVID. Oh, you know, the doctor said. So there was a time that one friend, she was like, no, I need to visit this girl by all means. So she trained me by telling me, I'm making dishes for you, cook food and all of that. And then she actually used that as an excuse to come. And I appreciated that because at least you are contributing to something, you know, because you're having sleep deprivation. Like for my first, I really had serious sleep. He will wake up every 30 minutes. At a point, I put him in our bed because I was like, I'm just tired of getting up to pick him up from the bed. And sometimes Happy will be sleeping. through the cry. I'm like, how are you able to sleep through the cry?
Useless nipples.
Like, I'm telling you, like,
useless nipples.
honestly, like, sometimes I get so annoyed. So even the saying that says that, like, sleep like a baby, I'm like, no, sleep like your husband, because your husband is your baby is not sleeping, he's waking up every 2 seconds. At a point I was like, this child has to come to the bed and sleep with that. So I started like breastfeeding while liner, and I knew it was dangerous, but
it says, but God,
I
help us. You all did it. Please don't look at me that
you
way.
did it too, eh?
I did it because I was so tired. I'm like, just take the breast, finish drinking, remove it, and let everyone go to bed.
Yeah.
It is not advised.
Yeah,
don't do this at home.
Don't do this at home. Don't do this at home. If anything happens, please, disclaimer.
Disclaimer.
We are not responsible. Exactly.
A tip for visiting new mothers: always do not rush to go and visit someone that just had a baby.
Yeah.
Wait till they tell you that it's okay, come and visit.
Yeah.
Stop forcing visiting. And when you go, do not look for food when you go and visit a new
you
mother.
rather want food to eat.
So I heard a story about this woman, and this was in Ghana, that she had twins, and her husband's family came to visit.
And they expected her to
and she actually had to cook. She cooked to serve them, and I'm like, what? She just had twins. She just had 2 babies. And
some people are ridiculous, honestly. To be honest with you, some people are ridiculous and insensitive.
Take food. And if they are like me, I don't know how to eat food that
someone else cook.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So bring me fruit or bring me something.
Exactly. You
and
can
just
bring a nice wellness package, even if it's not even food. And don't expect to be given food. Like, you can't go to someone's house expecting that, especially the person just gave birth, to be given food. It's honestly unfair. It's
the person hasn't slept in yet. So yeah, just wait. And this, I think after my first, my husband was like, well, let people come and visit. So we had people visiting at the hospital. But my second,
oh, really? At the hospital?
Yes. As soon as they heard that I had a baby, they were there. I was very firm with my second. I had a notice on my door: do not kiss, do not touch, do not do this. I was very firm with I said, no, don't come and visit. I'm not ready. Even tonight, a lot of people have been come to visit. I said, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to heal.
And you don't have to explain to them. You don't need to explain to anybody, because people feel like they feel the need to explain to them. Why should you have to explain? I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. Visiting at the hospital, like, it's nice, but honestly, at that time you are going through a lot of emotions. Like,
all I want to do is to sleep. I just had a baby.
Even at the hospital, the baby's waking up a million times a day. Honestly, wow.
This shouldn't scare you.
No, there's not to scare, but we are being real, because it's important to be real. Like, there are too many people that make some of these experiences look so perfect and cozy, and then eventually you find out that it's nothing like you thought. I would rather that someone tells me the truth, so that I know how to prepare myself. If I have to use all my money, like my savings, to hire a nanny, I'll do that, rather than pretend everything is perfect. Yeah.
The fourth one that I wish I knew was that my nipples could crack and blood could ooze out.
Oh, gosh.
So I thought breastfeeding was just putting your breast in your child's mouth, and then they will drink the breast and you're done. Unfortunately, it's not that easy, but it's not that complex as well.
Yeah.
There is something called latching. Your baby needs to latch well. There is a lactation consultant that can help you.
Yeah.
And so they did help me at the hospital, but I was so tired. It was my first child. There was so much information that was being thrown at me. So I think I lost that. And so when I came back home, my baby wasn't latching well. And so they were going on my nipples directly, and they were supposed to get a bigger chunk.
The areola or something like that, yeah.
And so my nipples cracked just by the vigorous sucking with their tongue.
Oh, God.
And then blood was coming out. It was so painful. So my child would go on my breast. And when they are going on my breast, I'm like, Jesus. And then it was so painful. Then one time I was changing their diapers, and there was blood. So they were sucking my blood because my nipples had cracked, and it was in their diaper. I just took them, ran straight. First mother things. I took my child to the hospital. I said, there's blood. And then they checked. Both my nipples were cracked.
Oh, my God.
And they said, you need to put Vaseline, or if you have shea butter, put something on it.
Is it lanolin?
No,
cream
I
or
used
something?
I used shea butter.
Oh,
I did not
okay.
use any cream. They gave me shea butter
Yeah.
and said, now we are going to show you how your baby can latch well. Keep breastfeeding. Don't stop.
And the more you breastfeed, like it also heals faster because sometimes some mothers like it's so painful that you don't want to give it back. And then it ends up like being painful because the next time they try again, then it will hurt again, you know. So
It was just a terrible season. So when you go to the hospital, ask so that they teach you how
Yeah.
you can latch your baby well, so that you
Exactly.
don't go through what I'm saying this so you don't go through.
Exactly.
It was just
Yeah. I mean, I have a what's it called? A friend who went to the hospital, and honestly, I don't know what she was thinking. So she went to the hospital with formula in her bag, and then like while in the hospital, the baby wasn't latching well, and she was trying to like sneak in some of the formula so the baby can drink it, just so that like the nurses don't see it. And I was telling her that the hospital is the opportunity that you have to try to learn the latching. Because trust me, when you get home, it's going to be more difficult if you don't like get it right away. You know, there's no like it's not a rush, but then it's the hospital is the best place that you can get the baby, like you can learn how to let the baby latch. So initially she was saying, oh, but it's so painful, it's too painful, it's too painful. And I was like, I know it's painful, I'm so sorry, but honestly, you have to try.
it was so painful. I did not know. The other thing was I also did not know my child crying could scare me. My child every 3 hours when he woke up, I got scared.
Yeah.
Because then I had a cracked nipple.
Yeah.
I had not slept. I was tired. I had not eaten. I had not bathed since morning.
Yeah.
And then my child will cry.
Oh no,
"Oh,
not
Jesus,
again.
Jesus, I hope you stop and sleep again." No, he's not stopping. He keeps crying. Come for me.
So you come for me.
No one told me. I used to sleep like no other business. Calm down. Anything, I will still be sleeping. I used to spread myself all over the bed. Now I know how to position myself and just wake up as soon as I hear any noise because of my son. I don't know if that happened to you. You were scared.
Well, I was scared so much so that I had this thing. I don't remember what it's called, but even when I'm bathing, I'm showering, I'll think I'm hearing like my baby cry, and then like I'm trying to take like a good, because that's the only time I have to myself to shower. So I'm trying to take a good slow bath, and then I'll think I hear him. Then I like turn off the shower, go out, and he didn't cry. Like I was so scared to the extent that like that was what was happening. I forgot what it's called, but you're just hearing your baby cry when the baby's not crying, and they prevent you from doing like the things that you really want to do for yourself, like the self-care and things like that.
I did not know that my babies. It was.
Yeah. The number of times I ran out of the bathroom with like I just literally started showering. I get out and he's like, "Why are you out?" I said, the baby was crying. So the baby wasn't crying, you know.
I was just scared, like my breast, everything. I was just scared. Sleep a little bit longer, sleep a little bit longer. And then I know that I was talking to someone and they mentioned that they knew someone that their baby didn't do all these things. And she kept on saying, "Oh, I had a good baby, I had a good baby." It's normal.
It's a bad
when your baby does these things that we are talking about. Cry every 3 hours. Later on, she realized that her baby has a disability.
Exactly.
That is why they were not doing all these things. So it's okay for them to cry. That is what babies do.
Exactly.
That's what they're supposed to do.
Exactly.
So it's okay that they do all these things. So I was praying that my baby would sleep. Can you sleep throughout the night? No. If my baby was sleeping throughout the night, then it's an issue. Exactly. They're not supposed to be sleeping.
Exactly.
Now to the next point, and I think you have this on your channel. Please go to her channel. Gestational diabetes.
Oh yes.
I had never heard about gestational diabetes ever in my life, that you could get pregnant and get diabetes whilst pregnant. Not because you have diabetes, but because you are pregnant.
Yeah. It's the worst.
And what they tell you is, it's not because you are eating a lot of sugar. It's just that because you are pregnant, your body can't just break down the glucose, and it's just a lot. I did not have it with my first child, and so I really did not know about it. I was tested for it, but I did not have it. I had it with my second.
And then that gives you the fear, because they always say that when you get gestational diabetes, the possibility of getting it for your next pregnancy is high, you know.
And then there's a possibility that you can actually finish the pregnancy and you now have diabetes.
Yeah.
And that is your life.
Yeah. That was one of my biggest fears, honestly, because I didn't want it. The first one I thought was a joke when they were doing the test.
Both, or you had it for just a second?
I had it for the second, but the first one they had to do like confirmatory tests because they thought I probably had it and I didn't. And then the second one I had it, I was like, oh, it's fine. I was just trying to eat the good stuff because I was trying not to eat certain things, and then eventually they said no, you have to start taking the injection. The first day I said, well, I'll do my own injection. You should see me. I was just feeling easy about it. When I did the first one, no one told me. My husband had to do the rest for me. Every single day, 3 times a day. No, 4 times a day. It was one of the worst. You can't even eat. And you know, pregnancy is when you know some of these women enjoy all their best food, the best food in the world. And now you can't even enjoy your food because anything that you eat has to be like
you have a chart. I had a chart on the fridge. 1 slice of bread is amount to 4 points. There's a number of points you need to eat.
Yeah.
I'm not someone that really likes eating in the morning. I had to eat breakfast. I had to eat lunch. And then the breaking 4 times a day. You have to break yourself. As soon as you wake up from bed, you have to break yourself. Then after your breakfast, break yourself. After your lunch, break yourself. After your dinner, break yourself. 4 times a day. When you start, it's like, oh, great. But then when you continue to do it, then like you're even scared to break yourself.
Exactly.
And then you measure and it tells you you're supposed to get below 7. It tells you 7.8.
Oh my God. The morning one is supposed to be like 4 point something. And then
you're getting 5.6.
Oh God.
And these are people's life actually, like every day.
No, exactly. Because my dad had diabetes, so I've seen him prick himself many, many times. So for me, honestly, I felt like
you knew that.
Yeah, but I thought like my dad was overdoing it. Honestly, like in my mind, I was like, my dad is overdoing it. Like he's trying to be overly protective, until I actually got it in pregnancy, and I realized that there's nothing like overly, you know, because that is what you have to do all the time.
But I didn't do the injection, so I was asked that either injection or medication. So I was given.
No one gave me that option, you know.
I think because maybe my sugar levels were not that high, so they were like either medication and the.
It's not fair. So much
the medicine was as big as it. Two of those pills.
If you were in Ghana, they'll tell you to put it inside Banku.
No, you can't, like this. It's like this. It's
so you can't go inside
Banku. So you can't even go to Banku. And I had to take 2 after breakfast, after lunch. So I'm taking 6 a day. I couldn't wait to get that. And with gestation diabetes, and I think she talks a lot about it. So if you want to know more, please go to her channel. She has a video on it. You can't even go 40 weeks.
No.
They will not make you go 40 weeks.
Yeah.
And there's a higher chance that you have a CS. And CS is okay.
Exactly.
CS is an option.
Yeah.
No one told me about it.
Yeah.
No one. Probably because my mom didn't experience, but I had never.
Yeah, but I feel like even if they didn't experience it, there were so many bets around their time. Is there not someone that could have like experienced something like this, you know, that they can even say, oh, this is what happened to this person or that person? So it's just very strange to me that some of these things are not talked about at all. It's really strange.
Okay. And so thank you so much for watching. Until next time, know that you are enough. Know that you matter. Know that nothing, absolutely nothing lasts forever. And everything will make sense in the end. Until next time, take care. Goodbye.